6:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Danishka Madhavala and read by Lavani Vijayatunga. First, we take a look at the headlines. Today marks the 17th anniversary since Sri Lanka faced the devastating tsunami disaster. National Safety Day will be celebrated at the Paralia Tsunami Memorial in Balapitiya. Station masters to continue trade union action. The Litro Gas announces that there will be slight delay to provide LP gas for the local market. Health authorities warn Sri Lanka is on the threshold of another huge dengue wave after 2017. Vaccination card is mandatory to visit the Sripada sacred site. And in news overseas, James Webb Space Telescope lifts off for a historic mission. Those were the headlines, and now move on to the details of the local news. Today marks the 17th anniversary since Sri Lanka faced a devastating tsunami disaster that hit the island in the year 2004, killing over 35,000 people. On December 26, 2004, an undersea earthquake with a magnitude of 9.1 struck off the coast of the Indonesian island of Sumatra, generating tsunami waves which caused massive destruction in several countries, including Sri Lanka. Remembering the victims of the tsunami disaster, National Safety Day will be celebrated at the Tsunami Memorial in Paralia, Balapitiya this morning. Religious dignitaries of all faiths, political leaders, public officials, security forces and police and the family members of the tsunami victims will participate at the commemorative event under strict health guidelines. The refurbished, ill-fated commuter train that was hit and destroyed by the 2004 tsunami at Thelwatha Hikkaduwa will arrive at the same time on which the tragedy occurred. The Thelwatha train devastation is regarded as the world's worst ever train disaster. Tsunami washed away this packed commuter train number 50, claiming over 1,200 lives at this location while it was on its way towards Mathura from Colombo after leaving the Fort railway station at 6:55 a.m. Following the arrival of the special train, floral tribute will be held, remembering hundreds of thousands of people who lost their lives on that fateful day. In 2005, a cabinet memorandum titled National Safety Day was approved to declare December 26th as a day to remember the people who perished in the 2004 tsunami. Station masters say that they have decided to intensify their trade union actions in the face of the railway department's continuous failure to meet their demands. Accordingly, they have decided to withdraw from all services at midnight. They say that they have been carrying out their trade union actions in a manner that does not cause any inconvenience to the people, and the action had to be intensified due to the lack of attention from the authorities. The Litro Gas announces that there will be a slight delay to provide LP gas for the local market. It says gas cylinders have to pass several additional checkout series for its quality and safety. Litro Gas says it has to pass additional sequence of tests before cylinders are released to the market. The tests had not been conducted earlier. Meanwhile, our correspondents say that there had been long queues at gas retail shops yesterday as well. The LAF Gas also said, as an importer of LP gas to the country, LAF Gas also follows the standards published by the Sri Lanka Standards Institute. LAF Gas PLC said that they have never released LPG with low standards. This is the news from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. And we continue with more local news. The annual Sripada season began on Uduwap Full Moon Poya Day, that's December 18th. Ratnapura District Secretary Balani Lukupothagama, issuing COVID-19 health guidelines for the pilgrims, said the vaccination card is mandatory to visit the sacred site. Pilgrims should have their vaccination card or an image of the vaccination card with them and strictly follow the health protocols mandated to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Pilgrims should leave the Udabaluwa area soon after they complete their rituals. The pilgrim season ends on Vesak Full Moon Poya Day in May. The government plans to provide an advance of not more than 4,000 rupees to government servants for the year 2022. The relevant circular will be issued soon. The allowances will be made from January 1st to the 28th of February. popular magician Shelton Jayasekara has passed away. He was 81 years of age at the time of his demise. He once served as a chairman of the Sri Lankan Magic Circle. Mr. Jayasekara represented Sri Lanka at several international events. Surveyor in profession, Mr. Jayasekara also taught magic for beginners in this field. His body is now lying at his residence at Heda Road, Pirivena Place, Mount Lavinia. The final rites will be held tomorrow at 4 p.m. at Mount Lavinia. And to conclude the local news, the headlines once again. Today marks the 17th anniversary since Sri Lanka faced the devastating tsunami disaster. National Safety Day will be celebrated at the Parallel Tsunami Memorial in Balapitiya. Station masters to continue their trade union action. The Litrogas announces that there will be a slight delay to provide LP gas for the local market. Health authorities warn that Sri Lanka is on the threshold of another huge dengue wave after 2017. Vaccination card is mandatory to visit the Sri Pada sacred site. And that was the local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhaloka Vedamahatmya.
The main news story for this morning, the final decision on the bus fare revision is likely to be taken on Wednesday, December 29th, following the submission by the National Transport Commission. Bus fares have to be increased in keeping with the hardships faced by the private bus owners due to the recent fuel price hike. State Minister of Vehicle Regulation, Bus Transport Service and Trade Compartments and Motor Car Industry, Dilum Amanugama, said that private bus associations have submitted proposals to the DEC and its chairman, Shashi Velgama, has asked for 4 days to take these proposals into account and provide their opinion on the bus fare revision. And that was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhaloka Vedamahatmya.
And in Watchlight this morning, a physician of the National Hospital of Sri Lanka, Dr. Upal Disanayake, said that it seems that Sri Lanka is on the threshold of another huge dengue wave after the year 2017. If you have flu-like symptoms such as fever, body ache or back pain, it can either be COVID-19 or dengue, and it is very unlikely that it could be any other illnesses. Even if the dengue virus antigen detection test is negative, people should be vigilant because only 62% show a positive result when he or she gets dengue for the second time, he said. He told a press briefing at the Health Promotion Bureau in Colombo on Wednesday that a huge dengue wave comes once in 4 years, and the last wave to hit Sri Lanka was in 2017. At present, there are around 10 dengue patients at the National Hospital, and 30 to 50% of them are in the dengue hemorrhage fever stage, which is fatal. And that came to you in Watchlight.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of
Christmas and New Year sales with CIB Janajaya Vasana has commenced. Valuable prizes and vouchers for CIB beers during the entire month of December. 20% discount will be given for bank cards and for gift vouchers. Visit CIB today as well.
Headlines of the world news. James Webb Space Telescope lifts off on a historic mission. Armed intruder arrested in Windsor Castle grounds. Tear gas fired at pro-democracy protests in Sudan. Those were the headlines, and now more to the details of the world news. The $10 billion James Webb Telescope has left the Earth on its mission to show the first stars to light up the universe. The observatory was lifted skywards by an Ariane rocket at the Kourou spaceport in French Guiana. Its flight to orbit lasted just under half an hour, with a signal confirming a successful outcome picked up by the ground antenna in Malindi in Kenya. Webb, named after one of the architects of the Apollo moon landings, is a successor to Hubble telescope. Engineers working with the US, European and Canadian space agencies have built the new observatory to be 100 times more powerful. A key target will be the epoch of the pioneer stars that ended the darkness, theorized to have gripped off the cosmos shortly after the Big Bang more than 13.5 billion years ago. A man armed with an offensive weapon has been arrested in the grounds of the Windsor Castle on Christmas Day. Thames Valley Police said the man, aged 90, from Southampton, was found within moments of entering the grounds at 18:30 hours GMT. He has been arrested on suspicion of breach or trespass of protected site and possession of an offensive weapon. The force said that he did not enter any building and members of the royal family had been informed. The Queen is at the Windsor Castle rather than spending the Christmas as usual in her estate. Security forces in Sudan have fired tear gas at pro-democracy protesters in the capital Khartoum. The demonstrators converged on a presidential palace for the second time in a week, but were met by heavy security presence. Earlier, the military government restricted phone and internet services in the city as protesters gathered, reports say. Other cities, including Port Sudan, have also seen demonstrations. And to conclude the world news, the headlines once again. James Webb Space Telescope lifts off on a historic mission. Armed intruder arrested in Windsor Castle ground. Tear gas fired at pro-democracy protests in Sudan. And that was the world news.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of
Christmas and New Year sales with CIB Janajaya Vasana has commenced. Valuable prizes and vouchers for CIB beers during the entire month of December. 20% discount will be given for bank cards and for gift vouchers. Visit CIB today as well.
Development News is brought to you by Let's take all out of the coconut tree and make the island thriving and prosperous. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928.
In development news, Colombo International Container Terminals is ending 2021 on a high note, celebrating its 10th anniversary in Sri Lanka on December 22nd and reaching the milestone of 3 million TEUs within a year for the first time. The company said its throughput for the full year is expected to reach approximately 3.1 million TEUs by December 31st, representing a healthy increase of around 11% over 2020. Notably, CICT achieved its first million TEUs milestone in just 8 months from January to August 2015 and ended that year with 1.56 million TEUs. And that was the development news.
Development News was brought to you by the coconut tree is well grown in almost all the parts of the island. It is an exceptional source of extra income. The shell, the husk and almost all the parts of the coconut tree makes you money, providing you with an excellent extra source of income. It will also help to nourish the economy of the country. You will be guided with all necessary informations regarding the coconut cultivation, with the novel cultivation techniques and all other related and upgraded informations by the Coconut Research Institute, Lunavilla. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928.
Moving on with sports news.
In soccer news, Aston Villa head coach Steven Gerrard will miss the next 2 Premier League games after testing positive for COVID-19. Gerrard will miss the Sunday's Boxing Day game at home in Chelsea and Tuesday's trip to Leeds. This is the second time this season that Gerrard has been sidelined by COVID-19. The 41-year-old was forced to isolate earlier this year during his time as the Rangers manager, missing matches against Alashkert and Celtic. That was the sports news. Business news coming up.
For all foreign currencies remitted through NSB based on the US dollar value, 10 rupees more per dollar, plus more gifts until 31st December 2021. NSB, the safest place for your money.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
In business news, there is a real increase in demand for organic food in Germany, and the export of organic food from Sri Lanka to Germany provides attractive economic prospects, as many of the foods produced in Sri Lanka are food items that cannot be produced in Germany. Head of the Department of Agriculture Production, Horticulture and Cultural Policy, Ministry of Agriculture, Germany, Dr. Burkhard Skemid said this at a recent virtual business forum. following the pursuit to support Sri Lanka's policy to move towards sustainable organic agriculture through enhanced private sector engagement, a virtual business forum was held recently on the theme of sourcing agricultural inputs from Germany to strengthen Sri Lanka's path towards sustainable and organic agriculture. That is the business news. Economic news follows.
Business News, sponsored by
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Economic news, courtesy of
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
And in economic news, the spread of the new coronavirus variant Omicron will slow the recovery of the airline industry, but it has not dented the overall demand for tickets during the busy winter travel season, according to Emirates Airline President Tim Clark. He told media that Omicron slowed their momentum somewhat, but they are still seeing positive demand recovery overall. For people traveling internationally, the spread of the new COVID-19 variant is ushering in new test rules, border closures, and the rapid reintroduction of quarantine measures. That was economic news and the weather report to conclude.
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
The Weather Report.
And finally, the weather report. Mainly fair weather will prevail over most parts of the island. There is a possibility of ground frost in some places in the Nuwara district in the early hours of the morning. Slightly cold weather in the night and early morning is expected over most parts of the island. Misty conditions can be expected in the western, Sabrakamua, central, north central, southern and over provinces during the morning hours. And before we conclude this bulletin of news, let's get back to the headlines once again. Today marks the 17th anniversary since Sri Lanka faced a devastating tsunami disaster. National Safety Day will be celebrated at the Pariliya Tsunami Memorial in Balapitiya. Station masters to continue the trade union action. The Litrogas announces that there will be a slight delay to provide LP gas for the local market. Health authorities warn that Sri Lanka is on the threshold of another huge dengue wave after 2017. Vaccination card is mandatory to visit the Sripada sacred site. And in news overseas, James Webb Space Telescope lifts off for a historic mission. And with that, we conclude this bulletin of news.